There exists a book so dangerous it was deliberately excluded from the Bible, you know. A book that promises to reveal the secrets of the original language of creation. The phonetic codes that angels use to shape reality. And that offers a map for human consciousness to ascend beyond the limitations of this dimension. This is not a book about religion. It is a technical manual of theology. The divine art of operating realities through sound and intention. The Book of Enoch was considered so explosive that it was banned, burned, and hidden for centuries, only to resurface in the shadows, guarded by secret societies and hermetic scholars who understood its power. Why was this text a threat? Because it does not speak about God. It teaches how to become a co-creator with the divine, using the same tools as the Soul. Kayet Angels. Today, we will decipher the forbidden codes of Enoch and reveal how you can apply these ancient principles to transform your reality. The official history says the Book of Enoch is an apocryphal text, non-canonical, rejected by the Council of Nicaea for being too complex, too esoteric, and too dangerous for the general flock. But the real reason is much darker. Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, is described as a man who walked with God and was no more, for God took him. This is the censored version. The complete version, preserved in the Book of Enoch, tells a very different story. Enoch was not simply taken. He was trained. He was initiated into a school of angelic mysteries, where he learned the language of light, the language of numbers, the language of the stars. He was taught to read the book of nature and to write in it using voice and intention. He learned that all of creation is a vast network of vibration, and that certain combinations of sounds, certain words of power, can alter the fabric of this network. This knowledge made him a non-human being, an ascended human, an angel incarnate form. And this was unacceptable to a church that needed obedient followers, not potential gods. The book describes in vivid detail Enoch's journey through multiple dimensions, guided by beings he calls watchers or archangels. They did not give him dogmas to believe, but formulas to experience. They showed him the geometry of creation, the mathematics of the divine, the music of the spheres. The language they used was not composed of words like ours. It was a language of pure sonified intention, where each syllable, each vowel, each breath carried a specific frequency capable of interacting with the energetic matrix of the universe. This language is not meant to be spoken, but to be chanted, intoned, felt. At the heart of the book are the keys of Enoch, a series of invocations and chants that supposedly open dimensional portals, dissolve illusions of time and space, and allow the practitioner to access the Akasha, the record of all that was, is, and will be. This sounds like fantasy until you look at modern science. Quantum physics now speaks of a holographic universe, where each part contains the whole. Neuroscience studies how mantra chanting and toning can alter brainwaves, access expanded states of consciousness, and even affect matter. The Book of Enoch is essentially a user manual for this hologram. The crucial question is, why was this manual suppressed? The answer is the same as always. Control. A population that can converse with the source, that can reprogram its reality through sound, that can access infinite knowledge at will, is impossible to dominate. They would not need intermediaries, churches, or governments. They would be sovereign. The early church, upon merging with the Roman state, needed obedient citizens, not sovereign magicians. So, they clipped humanity's wings, removing the texts that taught them to fly. The Book of Enoch was hunted, its custodians persecuted, and its copies destroyed. It only survived because some copies were hidden in remote monasteries and passed down secretly through lineages of mystics who understood its value. But the suppression did not stop in the Middle Ages and the 20th century, when the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. Fragments of the Book of Enoch were found among them, confirming its antiquity and authenticity. And yet, the academic and religious establishment treated it as a historical curiosity, not as a valid system of knowledge. Why? Because validating it would mean admitting that our understanding of history, spirituality, and human potential is profoundly wrong. It would open the door to a consciousness revolution from which the power structures would not recover. So, how does this language of the angels work? According to the text, it is not a human language. It is a language of light and sound that operates through geometric patterns of frequency. The words are like keys that unlock dimensional locks within our own consciousness. Enoch describes how the archangels taught him to pronounce sacred vowels that resonate with different aspects of creation. Each vowel, A, E, I, O, U, is not just a sound, but a frequency that corresponds to an energy center, a dimension, a divine archetype. The correct intonation of these vowels, with the correct intention, can supposedly heal the body, amplify intuition, manifest realities, and open vision to higher dimensions beyond the vowels. Tirarite names of invocation, words of power that are essentially sonic algorithms. These are not names in the common sense, but sequences of syllables that encode specific instructions for consciousness and for the energy field around the practitioner. They are not to be understood by the logical mind, but to be experienced by the energy body. It is like programming cosmic software using sound as the code language. The ultimate goal was not to worship angels, but to become a conscious operator of the same reality they operate. To become angelic human. So, how can we apply this today? How can we use this forbidden manual in our modern life? The method does not require you to find a rare physical copy of the book. It requires you to understand the principles behind it and adapt them to your own practice. The first step is purification of the instrument. Your voice, your body, is the instrument through which the angelic language will be expressed. This involves a work of vocal and energetic detoxification. Reduce heavy foods, practice deep breathing, and sing simple tones to cleanse the vocal cords and the auric field. The second step is tuning with the sacred vowels. In a state of silent meditation, begin to intone each vowel elongatedly, one at a time. Pay attention to the vibration that each sound creates in different parts of your body. The A as in father may resonate in the lower abdomen. The E as in they in the solar plexus. The I as in see in the throat. The O as in go in the heart. And the U as in blue in the third eye. Feel. Don't think. The third step is crystalline intention. Before intoning, have an absolutely clear intention in your mind. Don't be vague. Instead of I want to be healed, be specific. May this intonation dissolve all disease energy in my liver. The intention is the software that the sound frequency will execute. The fourth and final step is integration into reality. After your intonation practice, do not simply return to your day. Take a physical action, no matter how small, that corresponds to the intention you emitted. If you intoned for clarity, write down the insight you received. If you intoned for healing, drink a glass of water with gratitude. This anchors the angelic frequency in the material world. The Book of Enoch is not an artifact of the past. It is a map for the future of human consciousness. It reminds us that our true heritage is not that of sinners in a vale of tears, but that of children of the gods, endowed with the power of the creative verb. The suppression of this book was an attempt to make us forget who we are and what we are capable of. But knowledge can never be truly erased. It sleeps in our DNA, waiting for the right sound to be awakened. You don't need the physical book. You are the book. Your voice is the pen. Your intention is the ink. And your life is the blank page where the new reality will be written. The language of the angels is not a mystery to be deciphered. It is an inheritance to be claimed. The question is, do you have the courage to pronounce the first words? Enoch's journey through the heavens, detailed in the book, is not a physical voyage through space, but an elaborate metaphor for a dimensional expansion of consciousness. Each heaven he passes through represents a different vibrational plane, a higher state of awareness. In the first heaven, he sees the sources of the wind and the storehouses of snow and dew, an allegory for understanding the elemental forces of nature. In the second, witnesses the prison of the fallen angels who rebelled, symbolizing mastery over the chaotic and dark forces within one's own psyche. In the higher heavens, he is introduced to the music of the spheres, to the angelic choirs whose chants are not melodies in the air, but patterns of energy that weave reality itself. He learns that everything is coagulated sound, light vibrating at specific frequencies. This is perhaps the most crucial revelation. Matter is frozen music. The solid world around you is a symphony that has slowed down to a point that seems static to our limited senses. The so-called angels are beings who have learned to sing in harmony with the fundamental frequency of the source, and thus can influence matter directly. They do not pray for miracles. They tune realities. This vision is startlingly similar to the most advanced concepts of string theory in modern physics, which postulates that the fundamental subatomic particles are not points, but tiny vibrating strings. The frequency of vibration of each string determines whether it manifests as an electron, a quark, or a photon. Changing the vibration changes the particle. Changing the sound changes the matter. The Book of Enoch, therefore, is not a fairy tale. It is a treatise on dimensional physics. The exclusion of this text from the biblical canon was the greatest cover-up in human spiritual history. It was an amputation of our own instruction manual. Without it, we were set adrift, trying to decipher the universe with half the puzzle. Religion became about submission, when it should have been about sovereignty, about asking, when it should have been about creating. The good news is that the manual was never truly lost. It was preserved in the underground current of Western essence, passed from initiate to initiate. And, more importantly, it was encoded within you, your own pineal gland, your endocrine system, your heart. Our hardware designed to run this angelic software, Gregorian chant, Tibetan mantras, shamanic chants, all are distorted echoes of this original language. They are intuitive attempts by humanity to reconnect with the power of creative sound. But the complete system, the full grammar of this language, was kept under lock and key. Until now, because we are on the threshold of a collective awakening. Quantum physics, neuroscience, and genetics are leading us back to the same principles Enoch described millennia ago. They are validating the central premise that consciousness influences matter through vibration. What is missing is the practical bridge, the method to apply this consciously. And that is what the method of the 4 keys offers. It is not about reciting words in ancient Aramaic or Hebrew. It is about understanding the principle behind them and applying it with your own voice, in your own language. The frequency, not the vocabulary, is what matters. The intention, not the language. You can intone in Portuguese with the same power as Enoch intoned in his ancestral tongue, because the force is not in the superficial word, but in the resonance it creates within your energy field and in the unified field of the universe. The final invitation from Enoch is not for worship, but for experimentation. He does not ask for blind faith. He offers a testable method. Experiment with the sacred vowels. Feel their vibrations. Set a clear intention and observe the small miracles that begin to happen in your reality. The insights, the subtle heal. These will be the signs that you are reconnecting with the language of the source. You are beginning to read and write in the book of life. The force silent on this knowledge is coming to an end. The information is breaking free. Now, the choice is yours. Will you continue to only listen to the symphony of reality? Or will you pick up the instrument that is yourself and start playing your own part? The sheet music is inside you. You only need the courage to sing.